and welcome to another episode of Council Connections. This program is an opportunity for your elected officials to keep you up to date on the events, legislation, and initiatives that matter most. I'm Char Freedberg, and today I'm pleased to welcome Council President Pro Tempore and Ward 1 Councilmember Adrian Simmons. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I enjoy being here every time.
Every time. So for those of you who do not know, I did introduce you as the Council President Pro Tempore. What does that mean and what do they do for the city?
Yeah, great question. So there's 5 council members, as folks are probably aware, 2 from Ward 1, 2 from Ward 2, and 1 at-large council member. And then each legislative session, which starts right around the end of November each year, the council itself will elect a council president. And in this, for this current session, that's Council President Brenton Smith. And then the president will then select a pro temp, or pro tempore, as you said, is the longer version. So fancy Latin word. It's sort of a little bit what it sounds like. So pro temporary, it's temporary. And the idea is that you would temporarily stand in the place of for a short period of time. So if the council president, for let's say, wasn't able to be at a meeting, or there was an event that needed to happen that the council president wasn't able to be present in person himself, they would ask their pro temp to step in and sort of fill their shoes for that particular moment. So you might see it called pro temporary, you might see it called pro temp, sometimes even abbreviated PT. But that's what it involves. But it's like an administrative function, and you're there to help. One thing to note on that front too, in my conversations with President Smith as well, I know we're both of the mind, all the members of council are really sort of co-equal, in sort of exercising and debating in the conversations and sort of figuring things out. The role of council president and even pro temp is really an administrative type function, just to help the flow. The president, himself helping to help the flow of the meeting go. So hopefully that demystifies that a little bit, helps people understand what it's about.
Hopefully. I mean, my intrusive thoughts when I first saw pro tempore, I was like, is it tempura?
I know, yes. It almost sounds like it could be a food, like a shrimp tempura or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Darn my intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on the budget season for the city with the fiscal year 2027 budget expected to be introduced this spring.
Yep.
Can you give us a bit of a breakdown on how to make sense of the budget from like a higher level?
Absolutely, yeah, and I will stick at the high level so people don't tune away too quickly. But I do want to give people a little bit, because it's a 360-page document, so it can feel unwieldy, and don't feel like you have to flip through it unless you can't fall asleep at night. But a couple keys to know to sort of understand the budget. Number one, every year we pass an operating budget and a capital budget. So the operating budget is the budget that discusses how to do the day-to-day things. How do we keep the lights on in the building, the compensation, some of the basic supplies that needed to be done in order to carry on the business of the city. So that's the operating budget. The other budget is the capital budget. That's things where we're more building out infrastructure. Do we need to get more trash trucks? Do we need to pave new roads or repair old roads or things of that nature? So when you see us coming into budget season, first know that there are 2 budgets that we're looking at, the operating budget and the capital budget. Second key is to know during the year, even if something is in one of the budgets, if it's over $35,000, that's going to come back before council for a specific approval. So for instance, even if we approve a road being redone as part of the annual capital budget, when it comes time to actually repave that road, the city will solicit bids, and we'll go through a process of approving that specific expenditure at the time of spending itself. So operating capital budget, then there's the approvals during the year. The operating budget is the one we're all sort of, probably think of when we think of budgets. And so I'm going to just take a second to break down the city's operating budget. It's right around $48 million. So we're pulling together the numbers, or I should say the budget department is pulling together the numbers right now, working very hard. They put a lot of effort into it, understandably. So that's basically $48 million in, $48 million out over the course of the year. Of the money coming into the city, around 60, I'm going to look at my notes on this one, but make sure I get the numbers right. Around 65% comes from our real estate taxes. So we know we all see that on our property tax bill. That's what's funding loosely 65% of the city's budget. Around 12% comes from the local income tax. So you might be in the process of filing your annual income tax return right now with the IRS, with the state. So there's a line on your State of Maryland return that is for the City of Laurel, and it'll be collected by Maryland and passed back through us. 6% comes from police fines, 4% from other taxes, and then 13% from other fees and grants. So last step here, because that's probably about enough, on the spending side of it, about 35% goes to police, 13% to public works, 11% to parks and rec, and then 40% to sort of general government operations. But yeah, that's really your way to get your arms around it. Certainly, if folks are interested in more detail, you can reach out to me. But I wanted to at least equip folks with a basic understanding.
Absolutely, and it seems like there's a lot. It's incredible how you're able to keep track of all of it.
Yeah, well, with my background as a CPA, like it's a little easier for me to sort of lock in to sort of track some of that. And working with spreadsheets and things like that. Right. Although I will say, you know, the governmental accounting is different than for-profit accounting, but yes, no, it is an area where I do have a little bit more comfort and familiarity just based on my background.
Speaking of a bit of comfort and familiarity, I remember asking you about this. I remember in our first Council Connections, actually, where you were talking about some little known facts or other things about the city. What are some little known facts or life hacks that you would like people to know about that a lot of people don't really know about?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, sometimes folks understand that, you know, as part of, you know, American society, a democratic society, you know, we are engaged in sort of the public and different layers of government, but it can happen that sometimes we lose track of, we've got federal, we've got state, we've got county, we've got city, and some of that gets big news on television, right? And some of that doesn't necessarily get big news on, you know, whatever, Instagram and all that type of stuff. So I encourage folks, though, to really get to know our local government here in the city. You know, they may not understand necessarily what actually the city itself does and the difference it makes in their lives, or even what's available to them in terms of programs. So a way I encourage you just once during the year is maybe come out to one of our in-person council meetings. So on the fourth Monday of each month, we hold it in person at the council chambers, you know, at the Municipal Center there on Sandy Spring Road. And it's a great way to, if you've never been to one in person before, just to come and to absorb. Don't feel like you have to say anything. Don't feel like under pressure. You're just there. You'll see the department heads are there. You'll see councils there. You'll see other people who might be there to witness. And it's a way to sort of dip your toe into the water of just understanding what and how the city works. But a really great opportunity starts in the spring, which is the city holds the City Hall in the Park program for every month from May to August. The first one is May 20th at Goody Park, right around Laurel Lakes. And that is really an awesome opportunity because you'll see the different department heads. They're going to talk about what they do. There's food involved. You know, there's usually some activities involved for the kids, so you can bring the family and have them. You can get a chance to meet members of the council and the mayor in person. Get your questions answered. You may like, you know, I've been meaning to ask somebody and I just didn't know who to ask. Like, that's the perfect type of setting to come out and enjoy. So that's a little tip. If you haven't been to City Hall in the Park before, come on out. It's a great way to get to know what we're about.
Yeah, City Hall in the Park is a lot of fun. And like Councilman Simmons said, we do also have in-person meetings. If you can't make it to those meetings, we also live stream them on youtube.com/LaurelTVOfficial, or we stream them on our TV stations, channel 996 and 71 for Comcast, channel 12 for Verizon. All right, so switching topics entirely, what's something you're excited about for Laurel right now and want to share with others?
Yeah, absolutely. So 2026, I think, is going to be a really exciting year to be in Laurel. A lot of neat things going on. So it's almost hard to sort of pick. One thing that sort of captured my imagination a little bit is the fact that it's the semi-quincentennial for our nation. It's the 250th anniversary.
I was going to say, that was like, for those of you who do not know the big words, it's 250 years since America's founding.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And I had to practice saying that word a lot. So semi-quincentennial. I think I'm getting it right.
Woo!
But part of the reason I think it's captured my attention is I was born a little after the bicentennial, which was in 1976. So that would have been 200 years since the signing of the Declaration in 1776. And I remember as a kid, the coins, right? They were the quarters that had like the bicentennial logos on them and things like that. And I thought, whenever I got one of those, I was like, oh, I had to stick it into my special box and save them up. So it was sort of cool. And another stage in my life, we're coming up on another really momentous anniversary for our country. And so I'm very excited to sort of see this milestone come and also to try to promote and celebrate it. So encourage folks over the course of this year to do some things to help mark that special occasion. I do want to thank the mayor. I was able to collaborate with him and sort of say, hey, can we as a city, how can we help mark this? And he was, able to designate $5,000 to sort of help the city in our 4th of July celebration and leading up to it, to be able to sort of have some special things. So there's some special things coming. To that end, if folks want to be part of planning the celebration as well, the 4th of July Committee is doing some of the special sort of ways we're going to mark the 250th anniversary. So please step forward. I'm happy to connect you with them, and we've already got a couple people on board to do that. But something else, one way you might want to do that of helping to sort of mark this 250th anniversary is right now the Laurel Historical Society just opened their new exhibit Beyond the 4th celebration. It has some pictures and it has some recounting of how the City of Laurel has celebrated, I believe, the centennial, the 100th, the 150th, the 200th.
All sorts of celebrations.
And then all sorts of celebrations for freedoms here in the city. So that can be great to take the kids to market. So obviously the 4th of July is going to be great fun that day. I think they'll be opening up for people who want to join in the parade that day soon if they haven't already. So just an encouragement for you to really take this excuse this year to dive into some of our nation's history and to help celebrate the good. Obviously, we're now all part of helping advance the story of our nation even further today. So.
That is awesome. So finally, where can folks find you online and how can they get in touch with you if they would like to connect?
Yeah, absolutely. The best place to find me is always on my blog, adrianforlaurel.org, and that's F-O-R, the word for. From there, it'll launch you to my Facebook page and Instagram and Blue Sky accounts. Also, feel free to reach out to me via my email, asimmons, A-S-I-M-M-O-N-S, @laurel.md.us, or call here at the city offices, 301-725-5300, and come up again at the various events or things like that. Never hesitate to reach out. As your elected officials, that's what we're here for. We're here to be your point of contact, to help answer your questions, to help plug you into the right resources. So we want people to reach out.
Council President Pro Tempore Adrian Simmons, thank you again for coming today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And thank you for tuning into this episode of Council Connections. I'm Char Freedberg, and I'll see you next time.